I finally found the perfect camper to renovate. I found it just a couple miles from my home once again, and this is what it looked like on day one. Before I could get to work, you know how I do it. I take everything out, as gross as it was, and there was tons of spiders. We removed the sink, the fridge, all of the cabinet doors and drawers, and then I didn't stop there and I even took the shower apart. Once most of the destruction was done, I gave it a really good cleaning with a shop vac, and then we turned to the outside and started removing the windows. I always remove the windows because 9 times out of 10, there's going to be some wood rot. I cut back all the areas of concern, replaced the framing where we needed, and you can see here, this one was literally petrified wood. Measured all the areas, reframed the windows, and then we were able to put them back in with new butyl and screws, and we are all sealed up on the exterior. Once that was done, I went back to the inside and covered up the walls from what I just destroyed, went back outside, even found some wasp nests. Pressure washed the outside, and now we are ready for paint. But first, a little more on the inside, and we are getting all archy up in here. The entrance was so closed off, so I decided to cut an arched opening in this upper cabinet and framed it out with 1x2s and covered it in the bendy melamine plywood. Next, I decided to keep the opening on the side of the kitchen and added yet another arch. You would think that'd be enough, but no, not quite. I went and made another big frame for the opening closet that I decided to get rid of. Everybody hates that I do this, but I hate doors and I like to open up spaces. Once it was secured, I added more of this bendy plywood, and then I used wood putty to cover all of the seams, followed up by Bondo wood filler just to really strengthen the corners on all of the arches I created. You would think I'd be satisfied with the amount of arches I had, but I wasn't, so I decided to cut a hole in the bathroom because I had this vacant space from the closet on the adjacent side, added some shelving that I had, and look at that, a cute little cutout. I'll add some molding and gold rods and it'll be super cute. Lastly, I had to cut the hole in the roof a little bigger to accommodate a vento, which we installed here, and now we need to pick the paint color for real this time. The inside arches are gonna have to wait, and we are gonna tape up the windows on the exterior. They're finally prepped for paint, and look at here, it is beige. Once everything was removed and taped off, I used epoxy primer and sealer as a base coat and then sprayed on an exterior high gloss house paint in beige, and there is more details to come, and yes, the tires will be changed. I immediately removed all of the plastic from the windows and then headed inside to get started on sanding the entire interior. And we're talking everything got sanded: cabinets, arches, ceilings, walls, everything. And then I had to clean it all, and before I can move on, I had to make sure that the sink fit, which I had to cut back a little bit, but look at this gorgeous copper sink. I definitely stood back, had a little happy dance, and then we moved on. Now that I was bringing in some pretty stuff, let's make this place pretty on the inside. So I started painting the entire interior, of course, another beige color. After I painted everything, I took a primer to the base cabinets and upper cabinets, painted them white because I was going to be doing this faux wood glazing technique to all of the cabinets. So I did that to all of the cabinet doors and drawers, along with the base cabinets and upper cabinets. And now it's time to mix up our next surprise. We are doing micro cement across all of the other walls. I've never done this before. It's tedious, but it's the Mediterranean look I want. Once done, micro cementing all of the arches in this bad boy. Once that was complete, I cut down a bunch of 1/4-inch plywood, stained them special walnut, added some supports with my Craig jig, and then I started putting them in to create floating shelves and beefing them up with 1x3s. Next, I added this front ledge using pine wood, stained it special walnut to match the shelves, and then created a frame around the front window using 2x3s and made corbels. I cut off the upper part of the laminate countertops. Now I need to cut out for the new appliances and figure out how to reuse the old stove front for storage. The exterior of this bad boy was revealed earlier this week, and we also flipped the leaf springs to give us more clearance, and then spray painted the rims and buffed out the original baby moons, and we were able to salvage them. Popped them on, added a light and name, and the exterior was done. I love the retro feel we added, along with the wood around the windows, and now we are beginning to build the beams, get the flooring installed, along with some molding for the bench fronts. Starting with the floors, I went for a dark look, but apparently throwing the floors on the ground is not how it's done. But I did get them all installed, and then once that was done, I moved on to the side trim. I cut down a ton of pieces of this fluted trim that I applied to all of the bench fronts along with the dinette until I ran ran out. So I will be picking back up on this, but the real question is, should I stain or paint these? Next, I finally added all of my doors and drawers back into the trailer, yet to put the hardware on, but I did get some of the electrical done and started putting up my sconces. Lastly, I added beams, and look at that. Cabinets, beams, and lighting, oh my. Next, I turned to the bathroom and finally closed up the ceiling where we added this vento fan and went from this eyesore to this beautiful cedar roof planking. I can't stand waiting to decorate, so I threw up a couple of these pictures and then went back and did some construction. I added more fluted trim to the vanity, rounded out the arch, of course, and look at how good it looks. We added an AC finally, and then I cut out for all my appliances. In store next is epoxy countertops, and this stove door become a cabinet and cushion covers. But before that happens, we have a little more to do on the inside. I finally taped off these windows and gave them a fresh coat of paint, secured the banister I made, and added wavy trim, and decided to just clear coat all of the fluted trim. Added all of the hardware, and we're looking pretty complete on this side. So I turned my focus back to the kitchen, where I made this empty cabinet box to take place of the oven, added the stove front, and started painting the new stove top. And I was finally ready to do my countertops. Poured the epoxy and added some copper veining throughout, installed those, and got my faucet put in. Now we are ready for a backsplash into the bathroom, and added this flexible trim to the front of the alcove, and I thought it was done. Not really, so I painted it this poop brown. Not sure if I like it, so I went outside and started cutting out my shower panel. Luckily, I kept the old one as a template, so I marked that down, cut it out, brought it in, and secured it to the back wall. Now you can see what our next project is, where I create a faux stone shower. You're not gonna wanna miss this. Lastly, I brought the fridge in, and the silver isn't gonna cut it, so we're gonna paint that using spray paint to create a unique design. Then it was all about the bathroom and kitchen. I installed a new vanity light and made this cute little cutout shelving nook, and then headed over to the shower, where I created a faux stone look. And then, of course, I had to add a bath caddy, made that real quick, and we are looking spa-like up in here. I also finally found a copper sink for the bathroom, and then I painted the fridge, which apparently the internet trolls think looks like Burger King. So obviously I had to turn my attention to covering up the window so nobody would notice that. Just kidding, I was gonna do that anyways, but I did get all my roller bamboo shades up on the inside while Chad worked on getting the front awning all done. This vacant area above the open arch that I created, I was trying to figure out what to do, so I covered it in cedar planks, made a ledge, and it's dry food storage. Next, we needed a place to hide the dang trash. That's always in the way, but luckily we had another vacant spot, so a trash can was put in. Then I started whittling away my heart to make the cutest gallery rail, stained it, started thinking I could start decorating, but there was a few other things we needed to take care of, like this stove needed to not be chrome. So I rub and buffed the edges, and then I got to work on all my tiles. So I started dabbing my life away, and then I used more silicone caulking than anybody's ever used in their life. But I don't regret it one bit, because look how cute this gallery rail on this beautiful tile is. And now there's just one last missing piece, and that's the cushions. They were delivered, and then I pulled up, and Forrest Gump himself loaded them up in the truck. Brought them back to the trailer, and here is the result of Archie. If you have ever dreamed of restoring a vintage travel trailer, you will find that it is more than a renovation project. Throughout the process of stripping down its worn surfaces, you are bound to think you are in too deep. But with the help of many tutorials I share, I hope I can be a great resource to give you the confidence to tackle anything that may come your way. I promise an extremely rewarding outcome is at the end of this journey. With attention to detail in every fixture and finish, from customized appliances to retro furnishings, your trailer will transform into a timeless retreat on wheels. In the end, as you tow it onto the open roads, your restored gem will not only fulfill dreams of adventure, but also preserve a piece of cultural history, offering a second life that honors its storied past. These renovations will take a little elbow grease and try your resilience. Due to the nature of these trailers and RVs, the chances your project will look exactly like this one are slim. However, I hope to provide a foundation of ideas and techniques so that you can succeed in making it your own. So go ahead, find that project trailer, and join me in these renovations. And if interested, you can find my book, DIY Camper and RV Reno, Restoring and Designing Vintage, Retro, and Classic Trailers and RVs with Nailgun Nelly. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, BAM, Bookshop.org, and Indigo.ca. As this 1970 travel trailer restoration comes to a close, fear not, as we have yet another project camper that is ready to be revived. Are you ready for it?